Hi, everyone. Welcome to I Dream of Dance, Dance Talk Season 1, where I will be highlighting women leaders in health, art, and education. I'm your host, Amanda, and I'm joined by a very special guest, Caryn Vogel Lubetsky. And I am so excited for you all to meet her. Caryn is a lawyer by profession and runner by passion. She's a nationally ranked runner, two-time Ironman finisher, and holds 3 Guinness World Records with her partner and friend, Kerry Gruson, a 72-year-old woman who's a quadriplegic. So thank you so much for being here, Caryn. I'm so excited to talk to you. And just for an introduction to myself, my name is Amanda. I am a junior in high school and I live in Maryland. So I was wondering if you could give an introduction to yourself.
Sure, absolutely. My name is Caryn Lubetsky. I'm super excited to be here. I live in Miami, Florida. I am a mom of 3. They are 13, 15, and 17. And I am, as Amanda mentioned, a triathlete, much more though so these days an ultra runner. I specialize in ultra distances. And I do a lot of racing also with my quadriplegic race partner, Kerry Gruson.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm so excited to dive into these questions. Okay, so my first question is, when did you start running and what or who sparked your interest? When did you know that you wanted to take it to the next level?
So it's an interesting question because I didn't start running till much later in life. I grew up a competitive swimmer and running was always our punishment. And I hated running and it had such a sort of bad connotation for me. And then I had 3 kids. I was turning 40. It's sort of a cliche midlife crisis. And I decided that I wanted to run a marathon. And the first marathon I ran was about a week before my 40th birthday. And I loved it and I was hooked. And now we're 10 years later and I have run, I don't know, well over 100 marathons. I have, 6 or 7 different Ironman or longer distance couple day triathlons. And I've finished 10 100 milers, 4 or 5 125 or 135 mile runs. And my longest run nonstop is 150 miles. And I have a very specific story. So when I knew that I wanted to take it to the next level, it was April of 2013. And I was running the Boston Marathon. And I was there at the finish line when the bombs went off. And I was there with my family. And at the time, my kids were 4, 6, and 8. And it was an experience that I had to make a choice. It was either gonna make me lose all faith in humanity, or it was gonna make me find a greater purpose and the best in humanity. And at that time, it was right after that that I was introduced to Kerry. A mutual friend sort of knew that we both were looking for something more. And I knew that running had to have more than just how fast I could do it. It had to mean something more for me. And that was when I decided I needed to take it to the next level.
Wow, that is an amazing story. And that's really an unfortunate situation with the Boston Marathon. And I think it's really inspiring that you were able to sort of take that and look at it more optimistically and really like instead of losing all faith, like you were saying, really looking at it in a different light and making something out of it. So that's amazing.
You know, what I saw that day is that there were 2 people that were bad, but everybody around me was hundreds of thousands of people literally trying to work together to help each other. So, it was 2 versus the rest. And I always believe you look for the good in that. And so, yeah, it was actually a life-changing event in so many ways, but in so many positive, wonderful ways as well.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for sharing that. So my next question is, actually, you've raised, I think it's $300,000 so far for childhood cancer research through benefiting the Childhood Cancer Project in only 3 years through all of your races, which you detailed, which is absolutely amazing. And I wanted to know, why is running for a cause important to you, and why did you choose cancer research?
Yeah. So, again, I go back to that day in Boston. Like, I just realized that it had to mean something bigger than just me. And in 2015, one of my very dear friend's sons was diagnosed with osteosarcoma, an aggressive form of pediatric bone cancer. And I felt helpless and I wanted to help her. And I just didn't know what I could do and how I could help. I had a race coming up a few weeks after he was diagnosed. And whenever somebody hears like I'm running 100 miles or 125 miles, they always want to talk about it. And I realized in those couple of days before, I was like, wow, I actually have a platform. And people actually, I didn't think anyone would be so interested in me running for, anywhere from 18 to 27 hours straight. But people always had so many questions and they wanted to talk. So I thought to myself, wow, I actually have a platform for drawing attention to things through my running. So why not do it for Josh? And I really believe that we all have special talents and they just lie in hidden, sometimes in unknown or undiscovered ways. But if we all use each of our talents in a way to help others, that's the way we're going to change the world. So I started out with that first race that was coming up. And I thought to myself, what if I ask different friends to sponsor me for 1 mile of the 100 miles? And I just started asking people and talking to people and then local businesses, and everyone said, yeah, I'm in. My favorite number is 26. I'll take mile 26. My favorite number is 34. I'll take mile 34. And in that first year, in 3 short months, we raised $1,000 per mile for the Keys 100 ultramarathon. So it was $100,000 for one race.
Wow. That is remarkable. And that is so amazing that you were able to think creatively and really gauge your platform to make change. That's amazing.
Well, thank you. And I think that everybody has something to offer. We just have to find that. And there's always a way to use your hobbies, your beliefs, whatever it may be, for a greater good.
Yeah, I think that's an amazing message, and being able to really think creatively and connect your passion to another cause that you really care about is something really meaningful and really beautiful. So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Okay, so next, a huge achievement is that you've earned 3 Guinness World Records. So could you tell our listeners about like what it was in, how that happened, everything about it?
Absolutely. So I mentioned a little bit earlier, I have a quadriplegic race partner, Kerry Gruson, and she and I met when she was looking for somebody who would pull her through an open water swim. And a mutual friend said, I think I know somebody, and we were introduced, and a lifelong bond was formed immediately. One day she turned to me and she said, I want to do an Ironman. And I was like, okay, she's like, we can do it. And I said, all right, let's think about it. Let's explore the options. She's like, no, let's just do it. I said, okay. So we started out training and we did an Ironman. And again, it was one of those things that brought a tremendous amount of attention. While we were on the Ironman course, we saw other competitors who were sitting down on the side, who were ready to quit. And they saw us come by and they were like, okay, that's motivating. If you can do it, we can do it. If you're, pulling somebody, if Kerry's sitting there in this uncomfortable position for all of these hours and can endure it, then we can endure it too. And they got up and they went. So that was an incredible experience for us, not just finishing the Ironman, but knowing that we were having this impact on others. So we heard about a race that was called Florida Extreme, and it was a 300-mile, 3-day triathlon trek across the state of Florida. So you swam in one place for the day, then you biked about 100 miles to the next location and then ran. and it went on for 3 days. So we decided that that was sort of the next step in triathlon, and that if we could complete this, that we would be able to send a message to the world that the only limitations you have are the ones you place on yourself. And that was our goal in trying this. We actually never thought we would really be able to complete it, but we did, and we set the Guinness World Record for the most triathlons, long distance triathlons in that, short period of time. So we also both really love running, and we saw in these smaller, more localized races how we could really make a difference. So we wanted to bring it bigger, and we wanted to get sort of more on a national stage and international. We've competed in Cozumel and, in many different places. So we set our sights then on the fastest marathon pushing another in a wheelchair. And we did that at the New York Marathon. And we knew that the New York Marathon had, drew national attention, and we just wanted to show everybody. Our purpose was to say, there's a place at the start line for everybody. No matter what your ability, whether you're differently abled, whatever it may be, there's a place at the start line for everybody. And that was our purpose. And so we went to the New York Marathon, and we did set that record there. And, the greatest thing was that we did get some national and even international attention. And we heard from people all around the world that said, I have, this perceived limitation. I know now it's not a limitation. And they ended up competing in sports and things of that nature. And our third record, which we just set in December of last year, so just a month ago, December 20th, which we're still waiting for Guinness to certify. We just sent them all the evidence, was the most miles pushing a wheelchair in 12 hours. So we set up a course. We had a professional surveyor come in, and we just went in about a 1.5 mile circle for 12 hours, and we completed. It was a mental challenge as much as physical, and completed, it was 58.116 miles in the 12 hours. And again, it was to show people, especially at these times, that when two people who may be on the outside are so seemingly different, when they come together and work together, that anything is possible.
Wow. That is absolutely amazing. And I think it's like hard to wrap your mind around that you guys were able to do this. Like, when you think about how many miles was the Florida one again?
So that was 300 miles when we were swimming, biking, and running. And then in the 12 hours.
Yeah, just all the listeners, just think about that, how they were able to accomplish that much, running around a track for that long, and just even getting over that like mental block, not even talking about physical, just even being able to mentally do that is absolutely amazing and really inspiring for everyone listening. So that's amazing. And just like out of a curiosity question, so like, how can you bike, swim, and run while like towing another person? Like, so when you're running, there's a wheelchair, but like, how do the other ones work?
So you always start with the swim in triathlon, and Kerry is laying in an inflatable kayak that is then tied to my waist. So I'm swimming, pulling her in the kayak while it's tied to my waist. And then when we get out of the water, we put her in the racing wheelchair. And that racing wheelchair has an attachment that attaches to the back of my bike. And then I pull it through the bike portion, and then it detaches from my bike, and I get behind it and push it for the run.
Wow. Okay. Got it. That makes sense. That is really cool. Okay. So to transition, I wanted to know how you manage your athletic responsibilities and then other responsibilities, like your job and being a mother, as two examples. So is it difficult, or do you see that they complement each other? Or
I think that they definitely complement each other, and that it's just a lifestyle that you live. I wake up very early when I need to get in long runs. Oftentimes it's, waking up at 4 a.m, waking up at 5 a.m. During the week, I'll usually get in 2 runs. So in the morning, maybe I'll get up just maybe at 6 and run till 7:30, come home, help my kids get off to school and all of that. And then sometimes mid-afternoon, I have to get in a second run. I have teenagers, so Saturday and Sundays, they sleep very late now. So I'll, get in, wake up, maybe even just at 6 o'clock, sleep in a little later and get in a long run. If it has to be really, really long, then I get up at 4. Racing these long distances definitely takes me away, and I make my racing schedule around them, not around, the races I want to do, because my family has to come first. So sometimes they conflict, but it makes the ones that work out even sweeter and even better. I love getting to race in my hometown. I'm actually leaving early tomorrow morning for a 125-mile run from Miami to Naples. You run directly across the state from the east to the west coast of the state. So that's super fun, and I'm excited. And, I'll leave Miami. The race will start at 6 a.m. in Miami on Saturday, and it will finish. I should finish somewhere around 8 or 9 a.m. on Sunday morning. And I know that if I can get home, just drive straight back home after, then I can be there by the time my kids wake up. So instead of staying at the finish line and enjoying and partying and celebrating, I always, make sure I get right home for my family, so I'm there when they are here.
Wow. That's amazing that like your family is your top priority. And I'm sure that it would be so nice to be with everyone like, yeah, look what I just did.
Yeah.
But then making sure that you're there for your responsibility as a mother and still fostering those very important relationships. So that's awesome.
Many times I just bring them with me and I make them be my crew.
Yeah. Like this, they can shout you out. That's awesome.
Yeah, I've had some amazing opportunities to race around the world, and they've gotten to come with me on some fun ones. So it always balances out, but family first always.
Yes, definitely. And I'm sure that they're very inspired by you.
Every once in a while, I make them run it with me.
Yeah.
They've all run at least a half marathon.
Wow. And they're young.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. So, another question that I had is, some listeners might be feeling like, oh, like there's no way I could ever do that. Like I say that I'm a runner, but like, wow, like I barely have done anything. So I want to know what you would say to maybe beginner runners or people who might want to get into running, but aren't sure, or maybe feel like a little intimidated.
Yeah, well, it's definitely intimidating. And I have to say, honestly, when I talk about it, it sounds intimidating to me, So when I'm talking about it, it might sound a little crazy even to myself, but when you're in the moment, you just let your mind take over. So the one thing that I say to everybody is that I don't have any special talent, right? Everybody and anybody can do it. It's literally putting one foot in front of the other. And it even works for people, as you see, who can't put their own foot in front of the other, right? It's coming together and finding a way to make it happen, which is how Kerry and I race. But you don't go out and say, oh, I can run 2 miles, so I'm going to run a marathon. Like that's not how it works. You have to slowly build up. It's just like anything. When you're taking a math class, you don't go right to calculus, right? You start with algebra, integrated math, maybe even pre-calculus. You have to build that foundation. So what I tell everybody is very slowly build up, set a goal, go out for runs, make it fun, make it social, ask a friend to meet you. My running takes up a lot of my extra time that might be my social time. So I try to get friends to meet me for a run. Or if it's a day that I have something, easier and I just need, like for my training, extra time on my feet, I'll call a friend. I live in Miami. Hey, go for a long walk on the beach with me. So work it into your schedule in a way that doesn't take away from something else, but that complements it. And it ends up being also a lot of self-care, right? So the time that I go out and run, that's the time that I can clear my head and that I take time just for me, which is really important for everybody too. But the most important thing is to get out and do it, have accountability. If you want to start running, sign up for a 5K. Sign up for a 5K in 2 months from now. So you know it's looming over your head. It will get you to go out there. And don't just try to go run 3.1 miles. Start at 1 mile and very, very slowly build, because anybody can do it.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's awesome advice. Actually, in my running journey, when I was in middle school, we would have to run the mile and I like really struggled. Like I was almost one of the last people. And my cousin, he runs a lot, and like 2 summers ago, he set up a spreadsheet for me to do, and it was like I eventually did a 10K, but it started with like 1 mile, 1 mile, just
Yeah.
like very like that, and the spreadsheet kept me accountable, and it was great, and I wasn't injured or anything, so it was
Because
awesome.
you took it slowly. Yep.
Exactly. So yeah, yeah, thank you so much. Okay, and then my second to last question is, do you have any fun hobbies or any fun facts or other things you do outside of these epic runs?
Well, they definitely take up a lot of time.
Yeah.
So I would say that my epic journeys with running, I try to get a chance to go all different places throughout the world, and especially in the country as well. So I get to travel while I do it and see the world I did. So I would definitely say that travel is my other fun hobby, but I bring them together. So for example, a year or two ago, I went out to Antelope Canyon in Arizona and just saw the amazing slot canyons and whatever. And I made that trip around a 100-mile race that went through all the canyons. So I got to see them on foot.
Yeah, that's awesome that you're able to tie your love of travel to what you do with running, and that's really cool. Travel is awesome. You get to learn about other cultures, see new places, eat new food. So I love
Yeah.
travel as well.
Yeah, it's just, it opens up this huge world to you. And one of the best things that I always do when I travel safely, of course, I always, find out what the right places to go and stuff are, but go for a run first thing in the morning in a new city and you really get to see it.
Yeah.
Sort of brings everything together.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. So my very last question, sort of as a summary question. So iDream of Dance is an organization that promotes health, exercise, and education in youth. So as a summary question, why is health or education, which includes research, important to you? Or why do you think it's important that students get involved in exercise?
So I think that especially in the last 2 years and living through a pandemic, we see how important your physical health is to your mental health and your ability to concentrate and learn. We should all be educating ourselves throughout our lives, but as a student, as a child, that is your job, and you can't do your job unless you feel good, unless you are able to concentrate. And without exercise, the ability to move, the ability to be mobile, you really can't concentrate. So I think that number one, being able to focus in school is a critical component to any part of education. And in order to be able to do that, you have to have physical outlets as well. So that's why things like PE, extracurriculars after school are really a critical component of educating our future and our youth. And I think that the next thing is that we're trying to draw a lot of attention now to mental health, and that exercise is a really important component of mental health. I know that for me, when I'm not feeling well and I'm stressed about something, I can go out for a short run, even if it's 10 minutes, and come back and it's cleared my mind. And it's something that I do for myself. And I think that students today are really overburdened and overtaxed, and that one of the things that they really need is an outlet. And exercise is an important, healthy outlet for stress. And if we can manage our stress, we can manage our mental health. If we can manage our mental health and feel good, then we can focus in school. And they're just all interrelated. And critical and vital for the future of our youth, our country, and our world.
Yeah, that was an amazing response, how you were able to weave together mental health, physical health, education. And now that like I think about it, they are really, really connected and sort of essential to one another. So thank you so much for highlighting that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so thank you so much again for spending your time with me. You're a beautiful speaker. You're so humble. It was really a pleasure to talk to you today. And I'm so excited for everyone to listen to this episode. So thank you so much, Caryn, for being here today.
Well, it was truly my honor. This is incredible and amazing. And I look forward to listening to your future broadcasts.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much again. And thank you to everyone who listened to season 1 of our podcast. Thank you so much. Have a great day, Caryn.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.